Hi, I'm Nina Baratova, professional wedding photographer and the owner of Baratova Photography. I started the Modern Florida Wedding podcast to help couples plan their wedding their way. I sit down with local vendors to discuss the ins and outs of making sure your wedding is picture perfect. I also interview people who've already had their dream weddings to find out their secrets to actually enjoying their big day. Join me in creating an inclusive community where all are welcome. This is the Modern Florida Wedding Podcast. All right, so welcome everybody. I know it's been a while since we've posted an episode, but everybody has been super patient, so thank you so much for waiting. Today's guest is Nick from Noise Through Color Production. Did I say that right?
That is correct.
Noise Through Color. He is a DJ and he's primarily works in the Florida market. And he's come on to answer a few questions for us, talk to us a little bit about what he does. And yeah, so we'll get started. Nick, why don't you give us a little blurb about yourself? Just what's your elevator speech that you say when a couple's like, "Oh, you're a DJ? That's cool."
So, so first and foremost, like any bragging about being a DJ usually comes off on the lower side of on the lower level of things, which is why I usually elaborate and say that I am a wedding DJ. I don't DJ clubs or anything like that. Um, what I usually tell couples is that the wedding industry is $1 billion industry. It's a very expensive industry. And if you are
Oh
paying
yeah.
for that industry, and you want to make sure you have people that actually care about you and stuff like that, because there are a lot of vendors out here that it's all about the paycheck, but there's nothing better than seeing somebody's obscenely expensive special day essentially just
Fall
come
apart.
together. Oh,
Oh.
wow. Wow. No, just seeing it come together, every cue, the catering, the photographer, the wedding coordinator, and not having to disturb your bride and groom as well with any problems is just a wonderful, wonderful thing. So that's what I aim to do, exceptional service at a price that is affordable for the day-to-day person without them having to break the bank.
Right. I love that. I thought you were gonna say watching it fall apart is what makes you sad, but you went the positive way. So good for you.
I mean, it is a magical thing seeing, I mean, it's a tragic thing seeing a wedding fall apart because I have seen a number of them fall apart, unfortunately.
Oh yeah. It's like like that train wreck analogy, like you really can't look away, but I think a lot of people would say that, your DJ kind of sets the tone as well, so you kind of have to make sure everyone is chill and happy and you have a big responsibility. So what inspired you to actually become a wedding DJ?
So I kind of stumbled into it. I grew up on nothing but essentially gospel music and Stevie Wonder for my early childhood. And then in sixth grade, my sixth grade computer teacher gave me a CD and he was like, "Hey, I want you to listen to this. If you like music, you'll like this." And it was the Beatles' Abbey Road. And that just set me off on the fullness of the sound and that type of stuff. And it made me really explore music on my own.
Mhm.
And um fast forward to graduating school, I'm in I'm at a church outing with a friend and that type of thing, and she's listening to my music, and my span has broadened vastly. And she was like, "I really love your music, you should DJ my wedding." And I was like, "Don't joke around with me, I will actually do it." And lo and behold, I DJ'd her wedding. and that kind of started something. But I would and like I've been DJing for like what was that 2009 2009 that happened. So I've been DJing for 13 years, but getting really serious about it and like, going through the marketing and the paying for the leads and all that stuff. I've been doing that for about 5 years now, and it's been extremely rewarding. Yeah.
That's cool. So, you're saying Abbey Road was, like, your first album that you really sat down and listened to. How have you, like, gone and revisited that at all?
Oh, 100%. Like, I know that some people think that the Beatles are overrated and that type of stuff. And like they're 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 the Greek mythology of of like music, that type of thing. Like, it whets your palate. It gets you like, kind of into the whole like, oh my goodness, there's so much more that I didn't know about, especially like if you're just like a naive preteen, essentially. And
Yeah. Is there any albums that are out, like, right now that you're really loving?
oh, oh my goodness. So one thing about being a DJ is that your taste, like if you thought that your taste varied now when you're listening to like, music in your car or you're listening to Spotify on random and that type of thing, hearing other people's tastes just like totally destroys all walls when it comes to music. Don't get me wrong, there's some that are really out there, but Caravan Palace is a really like big one that I like. They're like they're a band from France, and they do like what's it called? Swing music mixed with like a techno vibe to it.
Oh,
And yeah, it's absolutely wonderful. Um I am still a diehard Stevie Wonder fan. I will be till I die. Like I'm very depressed that he doesn't do concerts in the US anymore. And like Childish Gambino's a big one. Like Donald Glover is absolutely amazing. Um
yeah, I think
Lupe
he's, like, the savant of our
Oh yeah.
generation. I really
Oh
do.
yeah. Hands down, like comedy and music, like absolutely phenomenal
Comedy,
actor.
music, acting, like, what
Directing,
can't
he
he
did it.
do? Right.
Yeah. Oh my goodness,
He
man.
just needs he just needs to go to Broadway and, like, get that EGOT already.
Oh yeah, man. I didn't even think about that. Like him on the stage would be okay. I can't even think about that. Yeah, but
Yeah, as long as they don't take it into, like, a Hamilton territory, I'd be pretty happy because like, Hamilton, I feel like when it came out, everyone was like, "Oh my god, this is so great, like, I love this concept," and then, like, I feel like it kinda took on a life of its own,
that's it.
and you're just, like, chilling, and, like, your friend's like, "Can I put on some music?" And you just start hearing about the Constitution, and you're like, "I don't need this right now." Like
Considering that I like was like my whole elementary school, middle school, and high school career was essentially around theater geeks. I know exactly what you're talking about, and
Mhm.
that's it, man. Like Hamilton is one of those albums that you listen to, you don't really belt it out. I mean, like there are some people that like full on know every
Yeah.
single word, and God bless them. God bless them.
Yeah, I mean, I loved it when it came out, and I would, like, sing "Burn" in the car, but, like, you
Oh,
know, that
oh
one
yeah.
was I'm like, pour one out for her, but yeah, I it definitely like, as I've grown, like, my music tastes have evolved as well, and, like, my boyfriend, he's like the guy, like, in high school where he'd be like, "Oh, there's this new band, but you probably don't know who they are," like, he's that guy, but, like, in a 45-year-old's body, so I'm like, "Oh, come
Oh
on."
man.
Sorry,
Okay. No,
42. I don't mean to age him,
I
but
love getting
yeah, he,
I
like,
love
has really opened my eyes to music that I, like, had never heard before and even stuff that, like, I have heard, but, like, other songs on that album that I was like, "Oh, yeah, I heard this, like, once because like, I'm sorry to say, but I'm like a single listener. I listen to the single and I don't listen to the album
Oh,
typically. And he's like very much not the opposite of that. And he's like, trying to expand my horizons. And he has, and like he has a huge vinyl collection. So definitely, list like being around people who have like a broad understanding of music is like it's like another language almost.
yeah. I love getting music recommendations, honestly. Like there are some times where I just like need to mix it up. And the single, by the way, is like it's 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 like eating, it's like I'm trying to think of what to compare it to it. It's like
You can
cooking,
like
it's like cooking pasta, essentially. Like everybody likes pasta, but like the sauce around it is what you're trying to figure out, like, that type of thing. And like
yeah. I see what you're saying. It's like cooking spaghetti when there's like penne, tortellini, like
exactly, I'm
so many
doing
other types. Mamma mia.
I'm telling you, but that's it. Like there are sometimes like I'll listen to a few songs off an album and I'll be like, "Oh my goodness, these songs are breathtaking. I wonder how the album is." And then I listen to the album and I'm like, "Okay, they have those two songs." Like they have
Yeah.
exactly two songs on
Yeah.
here. Like
You ever listen to the or watch the Song Exploder? Um, I think it's
this
Explorer or Exploder. It's like Song Explorer. It's basically like a podcast. And I think they have like videos now where they basically like talk about how a song was made.
Yes, yes, I have actually. Yes, and I've watched those videos actually on YouTube, and they're extreme. Like as I said, I'm a big Stevie
So
Wonder fan,
interesting.
and they did a whole segment on, I think it was like songs in the key of life, not songs, yeah, songs in the key of life from Stevie Wonder,
Mhm.
and um like just saying everything that he went through and what inspired it, and seeing like the genres before and that type of thing, and. I could talk about music all day, like honestly. But what bands has your boyfriend introduced you to? I'm very curious about.
Oh, I could sit here all day and really go into it, but I would say he's really like that's the thing though, like he'll tell me like some band that's called like the antithesis of dinosaur chicken nuggets or whatever, and I'm like, "Huh?" And it's like that's the band name, and I'm like, "That's cool, I guess." But yeah, so but a lot of the stuff that we listen to are is stuff that like I've heard in, like, the ether and stuff, like, M83, like, I've listened to their stuff
Okay.
recently, and, like, "Outro" is a really good song of theirs, and he's like, "But they have, like, all of these other albums," and I'm like, "Okay." And actually, he's going I think next week he's going to a concert for this band called, like, the Lizard Wizard or something.
The Lizard Wizard.
King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard is a
Wow.
band. Yeah. See, I wasn't kidding, like, it's literally,
I
like,
am
stuff that you're like, "Huh?"
I am so
So,
intrigued.
yeah.
Like
But
I am so
sorry,
intrigued.
to get back to weddings,
Mhm.
like, have as a Florida wedding DJ, what do you think, like, sets Florida apart from other locations other than, like, the heat?
Um, the weather is definitely a factor. Like, I one of the questions that I really should add to my, I mean, like, it's already on my repertoire. It's just unofficially on my repertoire. But I asked for the ICOF plan, is what I call it. And ICOF is ICOF, in other words, in case of Florida.
Yep.
And like rain is always, like, year round is always going to be a factor, unless you're doing it in like the dead of July, and then
Yeah.
you just have the blistering heat to deal with. But I don't know, like outdoor weddings, like always make sure you have a contingency plan, first and foremost. Most DJs do not have waterproof equipment or water resistant equipment. And like
Yeah.
I've been to weddings that have been before or directly after a hurricane, which is crazy. So, like, checking with your venue for contingency plans in regards to that, and
Yeah.
also making sure that like your DJ, if they have a weather clause in their contract, because some DJs at the slightest hint of like overcast weather will be like, nope, I have to get undercover right now, and
Yeah.
yeah, that can really dampen the plans. I,
How does like the Florida experience influence like your DJ style, I would say?
um, I think that every vendor has a Doppler app or like a Doppler website that they will refer to just to see, like, okay,
Yeah.
it's raining right now, but how long is it going to be raining and stuff like that? And never rely on weather apps or like Amazon or like Siri or anything like that, because Florida is
Yeah.
it's temperamental. But
Mhm.
essentially I do everything in my power to make sure that like if it's a ceremony, I do everything in my power. If it's a reception, I'm a little more picky just because I'm going to be standing out there a little bit longer.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
yeah. Hmm.
That's how I feel about like traffic apps when people are like, "Oh, I just use Apple Maps." I'm like, "Really?" Because I mean, there's a times where like I as a photographer have to drive like from a ceremony location to a reception location, or like from the getting ready spot to to the ceremony, and it's like you have 12 minutes to get there. Apple Maps is saying it's gonna take 18 if you go this way. Google Maps is saying this, and it's like Waze is saying this. So like I use Google Maps personally because it has, like, the most up-to-date satellites, but that's just what I've heard from another
I
wedding vendor, so I'm like, "I trust them, I'm gonna trust Google Maps."
I've been hurt too many times by Apple Maps. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, Apple Maps can suck a fat one, so
um,
I'm like,
can I?
the road is closed," and they don't tell you, and you're like, "Okay."
Yeah. Oh, 100%. No, no, like minute to minute updates essentially when it comes to
Right,
Apple Maps.
right.
Can I, can I ask what the farthest you've driven for a gig is?
Yeah, so the farthest I've driven, like, because 'cause I've flown obviously, but the
Hmm.
farthest I've driven was from Tampa to Tallahassee and back in one day.
So that's like 6, 7 hours
It was 7
essentially.
hours, yeah.
Whew.
And I broke up with my boyfriend the day before. So I was
Oh,
like, "Hi, congratulations on your
oh.
lovely matrimony. I'm having a day too." So I
Love
like
exists in this world.
yeah, just not for me.
Oh.
So yeah, that was a fun
Yeah.
weekend. But it was like a really pretty venue and the couple was really sweet and they were all really nice. So and like I didn't say anything until after. I was like, by the way, I'm going through it, but they were like super nice about it. And
Yeah.
I think they only booked me for like 2 hours too. So I was like,
Oh, wow. Whew.
"C'est la vie." How do you help, like, create something that's, like, unique and memorable on their wedding day that, like, is different for every couple? How do you go about making sure that they feel like they're having, like, an authentic them experience?
I think that every couple wants their wedding to be significant, like just like every person wants to be considered significant and that type of thing. Weddings, the beautiful thing that I like about them is that it is a significant day. It's a day that's focusing on two people, but it is a collaboration of like everyone. And when I say everyone, I don't even just mean vendors. I mean like your guests can sorely decide,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, how your wedding goes. Like, um, my biggest thing is customized playlists. I ask for a top 10 list of like song titles, artist names. Some people send me Spotify playlists. Some people send me Tidal playlists. Some people send me Apple Music playlists. And like I will listen to that playlist backwards and forwards, hence why my genre preferences are so messed up.
Yeah.
And then I always make clients aware, like on the first meeting, because I hold 3 meetings for my clients, um, that your playlist is going to be 70% you and it's going to be 30% me. And my goal in that playlist is to have you look at the DJ, hear a song you've never played, I mean, that you've never heard before, or that you might have heard somewhere at some random grocery store, and just be like, oh my goodness, I love this song. And it's like, yes, yes,
Yeah.
you do. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So,
Music.
as far as like music trends, has there been anything this year that you've noticed that's been like more requested or like anything like I mean, I'm sure that like in the music world there are people who are like new this year, like Chapel Roan is really big this
Oh,
year.
100%.
Or like, every year there's like a new up and coming artist or whatever. Has there been anything like wedding specific that you've seen?
It's so crazy because there are some really talented artists that are coming out. Um, Alabama Shakes have been a really big one, actually.
Mhm.
Um, and as you said, Chapel Roan, like I must have played Hot to Go. I did a wedding like literally this past weekend, and I must have played Hot to Go like 4 times. And usually I try not to repeat, but whenever it's requested, it's like once again, Chapel Roan with like that type of thing.
Yeah.
And but the thing that um startles me and might not startle anybody else, but it just like with all the good music that comes out, the classics are the biggest thing. Like everybody wants ABBA,
Yeah.
which I absolutely I absolutely love it. Um,
Yeah, I was
but
just at a wedding last weekend and they played like 3 ABBA songs, so I was like,
there it is, man.
yeah.
That's it when it boils down to it. But
Is there is sorry, go ahead.
oh no, no, oh no, go ahead, go ahead.
I was just wondering, like, is there any songs that you see on your playlist that you're like, "Oh god, I have to play this song again?"
Oh my goodness.
I'm
If
sure there
we're going
is. But
if we're going for the reap, like the songs that like are like, I'm sorry guys, like Natalie Cole's, I love Natalie Cole. This Will Be an Everlasting Love needs to be retired. Like when it comes to the I Now Pronounce Yous, or like announcing you back
yeah.
into the reception area,
Mhm.
then every single time with that.
Yeah.
And also Bruno Mars, Marry You from Bruno Mars is just like Uptown
Mhm.
Funk. I can do it. I can do it all day. But like Bruno Mars, Marry You needs to.
There was a period of like last year where I think it was like 2022 to 2023 season, or maybe it was 2023 2024, but it was like every single reception was kicked off with September,
Oh my
and
goodness.
I was
Yeah,
like, all of the DJs in a group chat being like, "Are we doing this one first? Yes, okay, cool." I was
that's
like,
it. Gotta just
I love this song because I'm a Virgo baby, so I'm like, yeah, September. But like after a while, I was like, all right, it's not, it's like February. Why are we playing this song? Yeah,
we all have joint stock in Earth, Wind, and Fire, and we're like, if we could
yeah,
just make
right,
this go, if we could just make
exactly.
this go up, man, that would be the preference, essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Um,
Your couple has given you a playlist and they have all these songs on there that they want you to play. And you're at the wedding, you're like killing it, whatever. And like a guest comes up to you and they have a special song request and it's like does not fit the vibe of the couple at all. Is that something you're gonna play or are you like, or in another way, like if they're like one of the only people requesting songs kind of thing.
oh yeah. Um, I like just a disclaimer. I am a nice person, I would like to say. It hurts me every time that I have to be like, do you really want to play this song now? Like everybody is up and dancing, and like we just got finished with the Cupid Shuffle, which always plays at a wedding, and I encourage you to keep playing it because it gets people off the dance floor and it encourages, unless you have that wedding party, but like kids, like kids under the age of 12 usually have terrible recommendations. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
I've gotten like the Plants vs. Zombies soundtrack requested at a wedding, but this past wedding that I did, there was I mean, it was a LGBTQ plus wedding mixed with a Jamaican wedding,
Oh,
and
cool.
yeah, it was really great. Everybody meshed really well together. Everybody was like, very nice, and the weather was like it felt like fall in Georgia essentially.
Really?
But yeah, it was beautiful. But um, one individual kept on requesting like kept requesting like gospel music
Oh,
right after we'd played like Pink Pony Club by
period.
Chaperone, or like when we had played like Jump Around and
Yeah.
that type of like full on hype
Like
songs
WAP.
and exactly. Yeah. And like she was like, oh, the church crowd would love this. And like you wince a little bit because you're like, oh, this is gonna destroy the vibe. And you
Yeah.
play it and you just see everybody go to their seat. And then
Right.
like they come back and they're like, oh, that second song. And I'm like, the first song didn't hit too well. You're sure? Oh yeah. Oh, it'll be amazing. Oh, everybody will love it. Oh, the Jamaicans will love it. And da 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 da. And I'm like, okay. Nobody.
Yeah.
And so I get the vibe back up. People are back on the dance floor like immediately after these requests. They're back on the dance floor. And then same person comes to me and they request two more songs. And I know the songs. And they're like, and this is like, don't get me wrong, there are some hyped up gospel songs, there are some hyped up Christian music and that type of stuff. But these songs are like 1990s, like slow dance
Yeah.
gospel songs. And I'm like, I can't do it. I'm so sorry. And they're like, what? And I'm like, yeah, I'm so sorry. It's just not the crowd for it. I'm like, it's been proven. You are the weakest link. So
Yeah.
yeah, 100%. So um one thing that I would like to encourage when it comes to brides and grooms, when it comes to their wedding, like, yes, you have your song preferences. Make sure to put songs that will get the people that you know on the dance floor because nobody
Yeah.
wants an empty dance floor for their wedding.
Right. Like just
Yeah,
because you love the song doesn't mean that like everyone's gonna love it,
exactly.
And that's okay if you have a few of those, but like if your whole playlist is that, it's gonna be like awkward. So,
I've had those clients where it's like strictly to a playlist, and I'm like, okay. And then they wonder why nobody's getting on the floor. And then I
right.
deviate from the playlist a little bit, and then all of a sudden people are dancing. There's a reason
Right.
that you hire a DJ. Like, it's the vibe.
Yeah. So, like you were saying about the Jamaican and LGBTQ plus wedding, do you have any advice for like DJs who are trying to like accommodate like multicultural or fusion weddings like that?
Um, Essentially read the room, mix your and when I say mix your songs, I mean like give a vibe of randomness in the way that
Mhm.
you are going with like, um going for the hot to goes or but I'm going for the newer songs, but also switching it back to old school because everybody loves old school. And then
Yeah.
if you and look into the culture as well. Like I can almost guarantee you, if you're not under a rock, you have a friend or a friend of a friend who is of that culture, and you can ask them. Like one of the hardest things for me, which is funny because we're in Florida, was figuring out Latin music,
Mhm.
and it's because there's Latin music from like a Cuban wedding is going to be different than a Puerto Rican wedding. A Puerto Rican
Oh, yeah.
wedding is going to be vastly different than a Mexican wedding.
Mhm.
And like I used to actually hire people to send me playlists from like those preferences, and I would give them a little bit of money just so I could build up my playlist and stuff. And the more that you do these weddings, the more familiar you'll get with the songs, and you know which ones are just gonna hit super well. So really just
Mhm.
experiment. That's essentially it.
Okay, that's great advice. For, like, anything like, let's say, you're doing a wedding and Florida happens, or even, like, what happened to me today, if you have any
Oh
technical
no.
issues or power outages, like, do you have any advice on, like, how to handle that kinda thing?
Um, when it comes to your equipment failing you, um, there are a few avenues that DJs can go to. I have had situations where the power has literally gone out at a wedding, and they had the little like styrofoam glow, like color changing glow sticks and that type of thing.
Yeah.
And I told them to fire them up, and I got like I have portable speakers. I have like just like portable Bluetooth speakers, and they're
Mhm.
by this company called Ultimate Ear, which is from Logitech, and they actually connect to one another. And I just scattered them around the room and started playing music off of my laptop or off of my iPad and that type of thing. And we kept the party going. And the power eventually came on. I was able to power back my speakers and stuff. But again, improvisation is the biggest thing. There are going to be some times where you just got to call a defeat, but just try
Mhm.
to be prepared to every for every situation essentially.
Nice, yeah, I definitely had my fair share of, like, trying to be flexible with things
Oh
and, like,
Lord.
last minute situations are like, "My parents are an hour late," kind of stuff, and you're just like, "Well, we will accommodate you the best we can." I think that's, like, one thing about vendors in Florida and, probably in other parts of the country as well, but I feel like Florida, you have to be really good at, like, being on your toes and, like, staying, like, very flexible in certain situations because we have a lot of, um, not just, like, unexpected weather, but also just, like, unexpected people. So,
Oh yeah.
like, as far as, like, the wedding day timeline, I know it's pretty important. I mean, a lot of people are like, "We have to do this at this time," type of thing. That never really works out in my experience. But, like, what role would you say, like, a DJ plays in trying to keep the wedding timeline on track?
Um, as I said, there are a lot of people that go into a wedding.
Mhm.
Um, there are there are I mean, there are like polar opposites when it comes to brides. There are brides that have been planning this since they were like 8. And then there's the other side of those brides who are like, oh, I don't want to be a bridezilla. I'm a cool bride. And then all of a sudden, nothing is planned. Essentially, I had to actually step into a wedding that I did in Winter, Winter Haven, um, where they had no schedule planned for their wedding, and they were going to let the sister of the bride, who was also the maid of honor, be the wedding coordinator. And I stepped in and I was like, no, I'm going to go ahead and do this because when it boils down to it, if you don't have things prepared, your DJ is going to be your wedding coordinator, where
Yeah.
the face of the
And
wedding.
your photographer is the wedding planner.
Oh,
So
100%. And that I think that's actually a big thing because I've noticed that there are a number of vendors that I've heard that don't get along with the DJ. DJs get along with your vendors, essentially.
really?
Like, yeah, when it boils down to if I am helping a couple coordinate a wedding, and just as a disclaimer, I don't want to. but if they're in need, then they're in need. Like that's it. But
Yeah.
always always show your schedule to your photographer, because your photographer, I mean, like, that's what it's all about. You want to get those memories locked down. You want to get those
Mhm.
special moments.
Yeah.
If you're looking for that golden hour or the blue light hour, which I just found out about from a photographer friend of mine, then you want to make sure that everything coordinates properly, but also make sure everybody's keeping on time, because
Mhm.
when it comes to making those announcements, and there are some DJs that don't do announcements anymore, which is also, yeah,
Interesting.
yeah, crazy. Um,
That's extra.
yeah, that's it. I have 3 meetings with my customers, and that is more than most DJs do. First meeting's an introductory meeting, online. Second
Mhm.
meeting is in person, and those 2 meetings are to go over your venue, go over the plan of events, so that I know and that I can like look at it and help you as best I can. And the final meeting is going to the venue to see like where I'm going to be setting up, so I can ask you as little
Mhm.
questions as possible on the day.
Yeah. I think
Yeah,
that's a big thing is, like, nobody wants to be, like, asked, like, "Where should I put this centerpiece?" You know, like
exactly.
and
Especially when you have a makeup artist in the room and you have a photographer in the room,
yeah,
and like,
yeah.
yeah,
And, like, here's my little spiel to the women and men and, whatever you identify as in the world who are like, "I would like to be the chill bride, I don't wanna be bridezilla." Please don't be chill. Like, this is me begging you, do not be chill, because your inability to, like, make a decision or not even just inability. Sometimes you, like, wanna make like, for example, like, you wanna let people choose their own, like, bridesmaid's dress, like, love that, cool. But this is, like, the one time where you're, like, you're gonna get married, hopefully. So,
yeah,
I want you to have preferences. I want you to be able to say, "This is what I want, this is what I don't want," because at the end of the day, your friends, your bridesmaids, your groomsmen, they don't wanna make the decision because they don't wanna disappoint you. So, like, please don't be chill. Like, who cares if you're, like, gonna be slightly annoying to somebody? They're gonna do it right back to you on their wedding day.
yeah.
Like, you know what I
One,
mean? Like, don't be worried about, like, trying to seem, like, laid back and everything because we all know that, like, we're not as laid back as you pretend to be. Because, girl, I've been to your house and I've accidentally eaten your leftovers and you blew up on me, so, like, let's stop the facade here. But I'm just trying to, like, tell people, like, the reason why I started this podcast was because I wanted to create a space where people felt comfortable to, like, come and ask questions and to, like, learn about weddings in a way that was non-judgmental. And I wanted to create a space where people could be like, "I wanna do this for my wedding, but I'm afraid of what people are gonna say," or, "I'm afraid of what my mother-in-law is gonna think," or whatever. And, like, I just want everybody to know, like, this is your wedding. You're allowed to do it the way you want. If you don't want to have a ceremony and you just wanna, like, go to your best friend's house and have a barbecue after the reception, do that. If you don't wanna have, like, a big cake and you wanna serve donuts, do that. Like, do whatever you want because it's your wedding, you should spend it your way, and you don't have to be chill. Like, please stop being chill. Like, that makes me and if, like, that's your personality that you're not a chill person, then, like, have your best friend or your sister or even the wedding planner, like, making the decisions for you, because then when the day comes, you can just, like, hang out and you don't have to worry about, everybody asking you all these questions. Oh, did I freeze? Oh boy. Alright, let's go to this one.
yeah.
Hi,
Hi.
I'm back. My ratchet camera. Alright, so
Um,
Um,
just
handle unexpected situations.
that's
Be
it.
flexible. Keep on your
That's it.
toes.
Um,
Uh,
I was actually looking it up a couple of days ago. The average like price for a wedding is $30,000. Like, which I mean, like, and that's in a time where like I don't know if everybody knows, but times are a little rough when it comes to like, the financial stat. I don't know if everybody
I don't
knows,
know if
but
everybody's on the same page, but like milk is like $7, so
oh
not
my
yet.
goodness, milk is $7. It's well, it's
It's
nearing
like
there.
it's getting close, yeah.
It's
Well,
getting close.
I like to drink the Fairlife
Lactose
whole
free.
milk,
Yeah,
lactose free,
yeah, same.
and it's fire, number one. Number two, you can get it at Aldi, so it's
Yeah,
cheaper there.
that's it. But like when it comes down to it, like the reason that I usually advocate for a wedding coordinator or a wedding planner, if you're like try if you want to be that cool bride, fine, but get somebody who will be a jerk for you. Like that's
Yes.
it. Like
Yeah.
everybody you need. Like
You need
I do not.
one certified
Yeah,
jerk
yeah,
on your
that's
wedding
it.
day.
Don't be a bride. I mean, like, don't be a bridezilla to the point like where somebody decides to wear a cute beret and then all of a sudden you're flying off the handle because it doesn't match the hairstyle or whatever it is. But like you have like in this industry, you are paying double, if not triple, what you would pay for a birthday party, essentially.
Yeah,
So
I
get
agree.
get what you pay for. Like that's essentially it. And like if you
And
can
not
find
only
vend
that, but like get what you want.
yes, 100%. Like there are ways to do what you want to do on a budget. Just make sure again that one first and foremost that your vendors are for you, like whether it be because of the amount that they're paying that you're paying them, or that they just like genuinely like you as a human being, which is always helpful. But like
Yeah. That's
advocate for yourself.
that's my like number one thing. Like if anyone just takes anything away from my podcast is like talk to your vendors like they're friend like you're dating them. Like date your vendors. Like basically get to know them, hang out, like go to get a coffee. Like for my couples, I like to do like an online chat, or if they're in the area, I like to get coffee. And I also do like an engagement shoot before so that they kind of get a feel for like how I like give them prompts or whatever, just so that they're like, oh, okay, she's not scary. She's
Exactly.
taking pictures is fun, whatever. Because like for some of your vendors, like your wedding planner, your photographer, even like the DJ, sometimes like you're gonna be hanging out with these people all day.
That's it.
So like if you hire somebody that has like great photos and like you really love their style, but they have like the personality of like cold oatmeal,
Not
you're not
far,
gonna
not
wanna,
far enough.
yeah, like try to hire somebody that you like potentially want to hang out with after your wedding. Like that's how
That's
I
it.
like to think about it, because it's like, okay, this is a cool person. Like even if like in my kind of messed up way of thinking, like I would be happier to hire somebody who like I would get along with and would give me a good memory, and like maybe like the cake didn't taste that good, or like the food was okay, or like the photos came out all right, than to hire somebody who was like super talented and was just like a beep to me all day. You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
said beep because I don't have a beep on here, but so
I I feel the same way. I never want one of my clients to be afraid to come up to me and tell me, "Hey, can we skip this song? I don't feel comfortable with it." Or
mhm.
and it could be like it could be a bad memory from Barney and all of a sudden I played I Love You or something like I won't calm down. But like you want to be comfortable enough with your vendor that if you tell them like, hey, this is not what I envisioned, that they will do their best to correct it. And
Right.
DJs have gotten slack on that 100%. There are some DJs that don't take requests anymore. As I said before, there are DJs that um,
Don't announce.
don't do announcements anymore. And like DJs, get to know your clients because when it comes down to it, they're your referral base for future clients as
Oh,
well.
100%. Oh,
Yeah.
100%. I'd say like yes, I do get like couples who find me through advertising, but
Hmm.
for like maybe a third of my clients come from just word of mouth.
That's it.
S- So like if you make somebody feel comfortable and you make you know, what's that quote? That's like people will forget what you said, but they'll never forget how you made them feel. Like
Hmm.
it's just like creating an environment where somebody can be themselves and like nobody wants to not be themselves on their wedding day, you know? Like
Yeah.
but
And 100% be yourself too. Earlier this year, I got to do a wedding where the couple was like, "Oh, we're gonna have a lot of elderly people there, but we really want to do a heavy metal wedding." And I was like, "Do it." And they were like,
sick.
"Oh, but what about the other people?" And it's like,
They're
are
not
you
getting
gonna
married.
dance? Yeah. Are you gonna dance? Are your friends gonna dance? Okay, cool. Do it. And they did it. And I will commend the elderly people at this wedding. All of them, like when you see a 70-year-old woman dancing to BYOB from System of a Down, it is beautiful. And it was
That's
so much
amazing.
fun. And it was at a brewery too. So that was really great too.
Oh, that sounds so cool.
Yeah.
I'd love to see that. I last weekend I had a I think he was like in his 80s dancing to well, for the first song he danced to was the YMCA, and
Oh,
then he
100%.
danced to Get Low. It's like, "Do not get that low. You might not get
Yeah.
up."
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. It was like, oh no, that hip. You're gonna,
Is there like a song that, you know, a lot of couples will request that you think is like kind of overrated
um,
other
and
than This Will Be?
this is gonna be controversial. It's gonna be so controversial, and I will play it, mind you. I am all cha-cha slide out. I'm not gonna lie.
Man, I love the
Yeah,
cha-cha slide.
I know.
My thing is like there are like so as a wedding photographer, I go to weddings a lot and there are certain demographics who like know the cha-cha slide but they don't know the electric slide.
Yeah.
And so like I get to step in and be like, this is how we do it. Cha-cha slide, everybody knows. So I don't have to
Hmm.
like teach, so I can like just jump in and enjoy. But I also get that like, yeah. It does
Yeah.
bring me back to like 8th grade dance.
That's why, and that's the problem. Like I've heard it so many times at like house parties or like eighth
Yeah.
grade dances or elementary school dances or gym, and like it's just like I don't mind it. I will dance to it, but it's one of those things that it's like, yep, this is going to
Mhm.
happen 100%.
Do you ever like have you ever had to refuse a song from it for a couple? Like, is there anything that you just absolutely won't play?
Um, not for a couple so much. Like there are times where we'll be in the middle of dancing or we'll be in the middle of an open dance floor and then they request a song that is very much like songs should have three categories first and foremost when it comes to weddings. There should be conversation music, which is like that music that you listen to in the like when you're like, you know, driving or whatever, and it's like that beautiful song and that type of thing, but it's not a slow dance.
Mhm.
And mingle music is usually the best music. That's the music that people usually remember. And then there is slow dancing music, which is like, you know, get close, get very tender, get very beautiful, that type of thing.
Mhm.
Grandma and grandpa are on the dance floor. They've been married for 60 years. Oh my goodness. I hope that my wedding's just like theirs. And
Mhm.
then there is the songs that are like, okay, you want the dance floor to shake.
Yeah.
Like, exactly. The songs that you want people to actually dance to. And
Bust down.
exactly like, Are You Gonna Be My Girl by Jet? Like Get Low from the Yin Yang Twins.
Mhm.
Shots um from like Party Rock Anthem, and
Yeah.
anything Little John, essentially,
Mhm.
like you're gonna want. But sometimes people they confuse their genre for things that they think that people will like. You're not looking for things that people will like. You're looking for things that people will dance to,
Yeah.
and that's the big thing. So I've had to refuse things based on the genre that is fitting the room that we're in. I
Mhm.
mean, I will straight up shut down a guest. Like, I've had a wedding. I've done weddings where like brides and grooms are like we do not want rap in our like we don't want rap period in our reception. And you
Mhm.
can have a great reception without rap, or like we don't want any cursing. And then somebody's like, hey, can you play WAP? And I'm like,
Mhm.
no, no, I can't. And they're like,
Yeah.
what? Oh, but everybody would love it. It's like, yeah, I'm sure they would. Bride and groom wouldn't. Ta-da. And like
Yeah.
I will always default to bride and groom preference.
Right. So, like, Cotton Eye Joe is on that list for you.
100%. The boot scootin' boogie is on that list for me, okay? Like I
Yeah,
love it.
yeah.
100%.
What would you say is like the biggest misconception about wedding DJs?
I think that you don't need one. Like, there are a lot of people, and I hear you, I understand. As we said before, times are rough, $7 for milk, etc., etc. But like your Spotify playlist, somebody's gonna have to be manning that in order to
Mhm.
fit the vibe of your wedding.
Yeah.
Get a get a DJ. There's some DJ out there, like even if it's an amateur DJ that's just up and starting, like there is somebody out there that will do your 4 5 hour reception for $200.
Right.
Um, it's totally fine. Yes, you might not get the same quality, and yes, they might stammer over any announcements that you give them, or they might not do announcements at all. But just make sure, like, give them a playlist and make sure that they have a good feel for it. Because when it boils down to it, you want somebody that is going to put a soundtrack to one of the more special moments in your life
Mhm.
and fit that moment. Like, as I said, grandma, grandpa dancing. You don't want all of a sudden somebody switching on turn down for what on your iPod. Like,
Yeah.
exactly. Fit the vibe.
So this might be a controversial question to ask a DJ, but do you think like DJs or live bands make for a better wedding experience?
I, I I read this question before and it wounded me still. Uh, um, um, honest, honestly, and like I'm gonna do the cop out first. If you can, both, honestly. Like I always recommend like live band or live orchestra or I mean like or a quartet for ceremony.
Mhm.
100% beautiful. You see the talent of these people. Also, like you don't have to worry about how far away you are from the nearest electric plug. But when it comes to reception, I like just by default, I'm a DJ guy, but I will always marvel at people who can play an instrument, especially better than I can, which is
Yeah.
not hard. So,
Yeah, I could see the benefits of both because it
mm,
is like there is something about a live band where it's like the energy is great and like, it's so cool to like see people like doing it in real time.
exactly.
But then it's like you can't go up and be like, "Hey, can you play WAP?" Kind of thing. So like I think it's a they're both crowd pleasers in like different ways because like one you can kind of like tailor it to your the guests can kind of like participate
Mm,
almost with the DJ, and with a live band it's like, it's you get to experience like something like almost like a mini concert rather than like that kind of thing. But yeah,
hmm
I could see like the benefits of both. And it would, like we said, it's really up to you. You're
That's
the
it.
person making the decision, and if you want both, get both, and if you want neither, then good luck
Yeah, good luck with your iPhone, like
Yeah.
100%.
Good luck with
Um,
your Zune.
I will say like the set list for a DJ is vastly bigger than a set list for a band. Like a band might memorize 30 songs, and that's amazing, by the way, if they memorize 30 songs, like
Hmm.
the capacity of being able to play that. But a DJ, unless you go like extremely vague into like, and they have like no Wi-Fi to reference the song or something like that, and all of a sudden somebody's asking for it, like King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard. So,
Yeah.
um, then like more than likely they're gonna have the song that you want. But yeah,
Hmm. What's like your, do you ever get like a Spotify, you have like your Spotify wrapped or whatever. Are you a Spotify
yes,
guy?
I am a Spotify guy. Yeah,
Okay.
I love the year in review for the Spotify. Just shows how far I've
Does,
traveled.
yeah, right. What is like, this might be a personal question, but what was like your top, let's say, three artists last year? Do you remember?
My top three artists, Childish Gambino was on there, definitely. The next one, I'm trying to remember. I believe was Mumford and Sons was a big one, and one that also will eternally have a place in my heart. Oh wait, no, I'm sorry. So I'm gonna go with I have to go with Gorillas because I love them. I love that they explore different genres and different styles with different artists, and that they're a digital band, so they don't really have a face. Um, Harry Styles is another big one,
Hmm.
but yeah, I think those are the oh, and Mumford and Sons because Mumford and Sons is wonderful.
Yeah.
Drums or no, yeah.
I was a big Mumford and Sons fan back in the day, and I got to see them perform at Okeechobee, like the Okeechobee Music Festival, like the first or second year that they had it, and they brought on, forget who it was, but they brought on like some amazing like fiddler or I guess violin
Oh my
player,
goodness.
and it was like live music, and it was like the last day too of the festival. My feet were killing me. I was so tired. I was like, I have to go lay down right now or else I'm gonna die. But I remember being like, oh, I don't want to leave, but I was like so exhausted. But yeah, they're such a good band live, and they like, I love how they're exploring like other sounds now. I know that, like, we all love like the 2017 hipster version of Mumford and Sons, but like the Tumblr version, I guess I should say, of Mumford and
That's
Sons.
it.
But they've like they've started to like go into different sounds, which I appreciate, and yeah, it's cool to see them like grow, and same with like Harry Styles too. Like obviously he was in One Direction and like R.I.P. Liam Payne, but also like Harry Styles, his sound is really nice, and like how his solo career has taken off has been really, I feel like, inspiring to like male solo artists to not
Oh
be
yeah.
so afraid of like embracing their like femininity and like style, and as well as like like dressing, or I guess like performing for the female gaze rather than like trying to be like this macho guy or whatever. So
I
it's
feel
been,
like I feel like he's like this generation's kind of like Mick Jagger type feel to it. Like he has a bit of a
yeah,
swagger to him, like, and at the
yeah,
same time, there's a metrosexuality, I guess it is. Like,
yeah. I see like an Elton
yeah.
John almost
Yes, there it
sometimes.
is. There it is.
Is there any like current music wedding trends that you just wish would disappear?
Oh, boy. Um, any I like I I understand that like there are people who appreciate a quality of rap that is in the form of diss tracks. I need them to be gone. they don't
Yeah.
attract people to the dance floor. I mean, like,
Yeah.
yes, yes, I know that you love like
BBL Drizzy.
yes, or They Not Like Us, or
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
like Godzilla from Eminem, or like, stuff like that. Like, I understand there
Mhm.
is an art to it. Keep it in your
Right.
car. Like,
Yeah.
keep it, like, put it on at the, like, like at the block party or the birthday party, or like, the homecoming dance. Totally fine. Weddings, there's a vibe that's going on, and
Yeah.
like, yeah.
Yeah, that's a good answer. I feel like there's it does take like a certain um intellectualism to like understand like Kendrick Lamar, for example, like They Not Like Us, like some of his verses you have to like hear like multiple times to be like, "Oh, and then he means A
Yes.
minor." And then
Layers.
and like there's all these
Layers.
layers and it's like really interesting to sit around and listen to it, but like Aunt Betty is not gonna get up and like she's so like I see what you're saying and yeah, that does ring true and I do love like a good like diss track or even like This Is America by Childish Gambino, like that's a
Oh
great
yeah,
song.
that is an
Um
amazing song.
and a great like dissertation on like just like the effed
Failings
up
of
effed
society. Yeah.
upness of our society.
The effed
Um
upness. Love
yeah,
it.
I'm not trying to get explicit from Apple Podcasts, okay?
Yeah, I fully
Um
understand.
So, and it's, like, such a good and it is kind of a bop, but, like, it's not I wouldn't consider that, like, a dance floor song,
Exactly.
so yeah.
But
So
on the other side of that, like, you also don't want your wedding to be a club. I mean, like, well, maybe you do. Like, there are some people that want their wedding to have that club vibe to it,
yeah,
where they want the full-on trance music and that type of thing. And like, that's completely and totally up to you. But just
right.
make sure that you are not playing just to your own preferences. Realize that you are entertaining, and also that people are
Yeah.
essentially giving you money.
And also yeah, that too. But, like, to go off of your point, I also think it's, like, important to trust your wedding DJ in that sense to be like, "Hey, I love that these are the songs you chose, but, like, I think are you okay with me like you were saying earlier, like, with me adding in stuff, like buffering in between or you know how, like, some people will be like, "This is the playlist, this is the order we want it played in," and you're like, "Okay, but if I play, like, Mr. Brightside right after, like, I don't know, Hey Jude, it's not gonna, like,
Yeah,
mesh well,"
exactly.
kinda thing.
Exactly. Get somebody who
So
could get somebody who understands the vibe in the moment, but
or, like
also knows that there's a plan,
or, like,
essentially.
beats per minute, that too, like
Yeah, that helps. That definitely helps. But yeah, essentially just get somebody you can collaborate with. Like,
Right,
that's what it is for every vendor. Like, get somebody who understands, I mean, who is working hard to understand your vision for your day.
right. Yeah,
Mm.
I say that all the time, like, I wanna make sure I can, like, truly understand your vision before I'm, like, sitting like, before I ever get to, like, your wedding day or, like, your getting ready location, I wanna know, like, what you're visioning your day to look like. I wanna make sure that, like, the photos that I'm setting up, for example, or for you, like, the songs that you're teeing up kind of are, like, putting the library books back where they belong in your day of events or even in, like, the emotion of the day, because if you're, like, having a moment, you're reading your vows, if you for example, private vows,
Oh
big,
yeah,
big, big deal.
big
Some
deal.
people are like, "We want our private vows photographed," and I'm like, "Alright, would you like me to use a 50 millimeter or a 200 millimeter? Because those 2 things, like, 1, I could be further away so that I'm not there." And I
Hmm.
don't say that question. I say, like, "Would you like me to be up close, or would you like me to be further away so I can't hear? Would you like me to be, like, on the 2nd story across from the courtyard? Would you like me to, like" be right next to you so I can photograph the letters on the page. Like I get like really detailed because I don't want them to be like, oh, we had private vows, but our photographer was there the whole time and she kept telling us where to put our hands, which I'm like, I'm not gonna do, obviously.
And I've
The
seen those photographers too, by the way.
private
Like,
moment.
hmm
Yeah. So there are certain things where I'm like, I don't have to be here to document it. I can
exactly.
be around, but I'm not gonna like for first looks, oftentimes I will like shoot up close and then I'm like, okay, you have a minute or two now to like really take each other in and like talk and stuff. I'm not gonna hear any of it. I'm gonna be over here. You're good to like just enjoy the moment and like realize like this is your wedding day. You have been apart all day. This is the first time you're seeing each other. Like soak it all in. And people are always like, thank you so much. That meant so much to me. And I'm like, I know.
That's hair flip.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, 100%. I one of my favorite things is and there are last dances in which like, I'm closing up shot, that type of thing. But like I encourage you guys, do a last dance with your new spouse, with your new significant other,
Mhm.
whatever your relationship is taking form, like
A
just do a
private
last
last
dance.
dance.
Yeah, a private last dance where like everybody's out of the venue and that type of stuff, waiting for you to do your send off and that type of thing. And
Mhm.
like literally, I will walk out of like I'll just press play and I'll be like, you guys are all set. I'm leaving the
Yeah.
room. Nothing will play after this. Just come out when you're ready. And that's it. Because when it boils down to it, you're all of it is celebrating the person that you found.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And that's such an important thing too is because like if when it's your wedding day, you're going to be with your person for like majority of the day, hopefully.
Yeah.
But you're not going to always be alone. And sometimes you
Mm,
might not be alone at all. So like having those special moments, like sometimes I tell couples like block off 3 minutes between your ceremony and reception where you guys are just alone where you can talk.
exactly.
Because like you don't really get to like sit back and be like, "Holy shit, we just got married," kind of thing.
That's
Or
it.
even like, "Wow, can you believe we actually did it?" Cuz I know a lot of couples who I mean, the wedding you and I worked on, like those poor guys were going through it up until their wedding day. So like
That's it.
they really had a lot going on, so it was nice. I was like, "Hey, I'm going to walk away. You guys are good for 5 minutes. Do
Mm.
whatever you wanna do. I'll come back. I'll fix your makeup if you need me to." So
And also speaking as somebody who like got married last year, it goes by super fast. Like all this planning that you've done, all like the catering, the food, you barely get to eat. Please make sure you eat. Please make sure you hydrate. I've That's another thing with Florida. You will faint.
yeah.
You will faint.
Don't lock your
But
knees when you're
don't.
standing.
That's it. Like pretend like you're going to Disney, essentially. Like prepare, essentially.
Mhm.
But it goes by so quickly,
Right.
and like just stand back um at a place where nobody can talk to you or something like that and just take it in because there are going to be so many faces that you know, so many faces that you will know because you have your significant other side of the family there too and people that you might never see again. And
Yeah, that's
it's
true.
a beautiful thing. Like absorb as much as possible.
So you got married last year, you said?
I did get married last year. Yeah.
Did you have a DJ?
Uh, yes, I did, and it was painstaking to find it, but I finally like um got I actually got a very good DJ through a friend.
Good.
He's a cohort who actually DJs and we refer business to one another as well. But
Mhm.
yeah, he was a great personality, and I already knew that I got along with the guy, so that really helped. And he thankfully knew what he was doing, and I knew what to request, and he knew what to play. So
Mhm.
I was happy as a clam. Yep.
Is there anything else that you'd like to say to the people of Florida or the people who are having their weddings in Florida about, you know, something maybe that you wish you did differently for your wedding or something that was important to you that you would just think other people should focus on?
If you're going to go for cheap, plan ahead. Like plan way like if you're like we're gonna have a wedding, we have $50 in our bank account. Plan plan that wedding a year before. You will find somebody, you will find the people slowly but surely. Make sure that they're dependable. Make sure you can keep in consistent contact with them.
Mhm.
Because like that is one thing that I did not like about my DJ. He disappeared for a while. And um, my three meetings that I do with clients, like there are some DJs who are like, why? And I'm like, because they're giving me money and I want them to know that their money hasn't disappeared. But
Yeah.
if you are going expensive, expensive does not guarantee quality. Like that's it. Like I've seen people
Yep.
who have had $80,000 weddings and I've looked around and been like, I should have charged more. And like, and the food was subpar and like the photographer was mean and like all of a sudden they're like, oh, the only one who's doing something right is the DJ. And I'm looking and I'm like, I really should have charged more and that type of
Yeah.
thing. But like know the person you're hiring. Like talk to them on the phone. Talk to them on the phone. I cannot repeat it more. Like weddings cannot be done by texting alone. I am sorry.
Yes.
Talk to
Yes.
your vendors on the phone. Um, and if you're an introvert, like there are ways to do introverted weddings. That's it.
Mhm.
Like
Mhm. Yeah,
you can
I
ch
agree. I think I think there are times where you could be like I to your point about, like, expensive doesn't often, like, mean quality.
quality. Yeah,
Ask for instance, like, photography, ask to see past albums.
there it is.
For videographers, ask to see past films. For planners, maybe see, like, "Hey, do you have any, like, reviews?" Like, read the reviews. If they're, like if there's even, like, a slight tone of, like, it looks like ChatGPT wrote it, like, make sure you, like, get the person on the phone and be like, "Hey, like, can I just talk to you about your day to day or, like, how would you go about doing my wedding?" kind of thing, because sometimes people, like, are really sometimes people trust the internet too much, I think.
Yeah,
So, like, I agree 100%, get them on the phone, get a video call if you can, because then you could, like, see their facial expressions, their eyes, their body language. If you see somebody who's, like, talking to you on the phone and they're, like, really like, slouched or whatever, and, like, that's your photographer, for example, you probably want somebody who's, like, more gregarious and outgoing because
there it is.
they're gonna be spending all day with you or, like, taking photos of people, like, during cocktail hour, for example, like, if you want photos of everybody, you're gonna need a photographer who can talk to everybody. If you want, like, a DJ that's you can have a good rapport with and that you can, like, trust to play stuff that you tell them to, you wanna make sure you're talking to that person and you're like, "Hey, what would you do in this situation?" Or even asking questions. I think asking questions is so important because, like,
100%.
for one, I'm really bad at asking questions, and, like, a lot of times it does come back to bite me in the butt. So
But that's the other thing. Like with the field that you are in, you are vast. Like if you like get married or when you get married, you're going to be a lot more critical of your photographer because you know the questions to ask and that type of
Mhm.
thing. And if you don't
Yeah.
know and if you don't know the questions to ask, question multiple people and find out who you're most comfortable with and who will
Mhm.
bring it to your terms. Like how you
Right.
said, like how you were talking about like the millimeter lens to use. Like
Mhm.
there are people out there that will try to make you feel dumb, so you feel like, oh, they're a
Oh, they
professional.
know
I've
what they're
spent
talking about. Yeah.
exactly. No, it is the people that will come down to your level and explain to you so that you understand what you're paying for. Those are the
Right.
people that you really want.
Right. And like if you don't know like what to ask your wedding vendors, ask like your friends who have gotten married or ask like your friends of friends who like are in that profession and be like, "Hey, what should I ask this person?" Because
That's
like
it.
you don't know what you don't know. So, yeah,
And like amateur photographers can be great. Make sure you look at their work before you do it. Like
right.
just as like amateur DJs can be great because everybody has to start somewhere. Just make
Mhm.
sure that you know what their preferences are because sometimes they will
Yeah.
go towards that more than others.
Yeah,
Um,
and when it comes to, like, researching a vendor, don't just go onto, like, one platform. Like, if you find them
uh,
on Instagram, go to their website. If you find them on
exactly.
Zola or, like, Wedding Pro, go to their website, go to their Instagram. Like, look at multiple streams, and, like I'm saying, please, like, do your research because 'cause you're gonna be stuck with, like, that product that they give you for
That's a
till the end of time.
for the rest of your life. Actually, no, you're right, till the end of time, because your grandchildren will probably be
Yes.
looking at your wedding photos too.
Yes.
Like that's it.
Yeah.
And DJs, like I know the wedding coordinator's yelling at you. The photographer's the real boss when it boils down to it. Like that's all everybody's gonna and like, yes, the food will be good. Yes, the music will be good. Yes, everything went off without a hitch. Or it didn't, the photos are going to be remembered eternally. No
Right.
pressure, Nina. No,
Yeah.
no
No
pressure.
pressure. Sometimes I think about the fact that I'm in charge of people's memories and I'm like, if
Yeah,
I think about that too hard, I will cry and I will also like freak out. So, but
I, I I would be photoshopping like Tyrannosaurus Rexes and that type of stuff in people's memories. But
yeah,
there's a reason I'm the DJ. So
right. I
exactly.
mean, I like to the way that I like to approach a wedding day is to be like I want the photos to be about your wedding. I don't want your wedding to be about the photos.
Mm,
So that you don't feel like you're in one big photo shoot because
that's
it's not a
beautiful.
photo shoot, it's a wedding day. So, like,
Yeah,
I will step in when needed to get a moment that I know you want, but I'm also not gonna be like, I missed the first kiss. Can you do it over again?" Which I
yeah.
literally saw a TikTok of that, and I was like,
Oh no.
yeah, a bride and groom were, like, about to kiss, and the videographer, I think it was like, "We're not ready yet." And I was like, "Do it again. Do it over." Like
I've seen a couple walking down the aisle after being announced, and the photographer will stop the ceremony to have them walk back again.
yeah, no. If you, like, miss it, have them walk back. This is just advice for, photographers who if you happen to be listening. Have them walk back and say, "Alright, stay right here. Can you dip her at the end of the aisle?" And, like, you'll have that, and
There it
then
is.
if and then as you're walking, say, "Hey, I kinda missed the first. I" this is the time when you, like, you talk and you say, "Hey, I kinda messed up and I didn't get your first kiss. Do you mind if I walk you back to the front?" Like, you just have to communicate because, like, at the end of the day, it's the like, you're sending these people's memories, so if you didn't get something that, like, you know they wanted or you know is going to be important to them, you can, like, fabricate it.
Yeah, be honest. Like that. I
So,
mean, be
yes.
honest. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
it.
Well, alright, Nick. Um, where can everybody find you?
So the main component is you can find me on Zola. Zola is a great platform. It's free, which is a beautiful, beautiful thing. And also you can
Yes.
find like all your references and referrals and that type of stuff on there from different vendors. Read reviews and like, also create a wedding website. I can't, and she's not getting paid for this, by the way. There's no advert. Like Zola's not paying us, unfortunately. But also, Instagram at NTC Prod. That's P as in Peter ROD. Um, you can see my Instagram on there, and you can also reach me on Facebook at Noise Through Color as well. And yeah, that's it.
All right, Nick. And all of that info I'll include in the description. So if you're bad at listening, you can just copy paste. Thank you so much, Nick. Um,
100%.
I so looking forward to working with you again.
Yes, 100%.
And yeah, thanks so much for being on. I'm sure the listeners will love our conversation and want to hear more music
We
stuff.
just need to, yeah, we just need to start a podcast about music specifically, and then we'll just be fine. That's it. Love
Yeah,
it.
music and pictures.
Music
Music
and
and
pictures and
yeah.
$7 milk.
Hey, it's expensive.
It is expensive.
Cereal is now like a gourmet meal.
Oh my goodness.